Hey guys, you've made it to episode 4. Thanks for still being here. Hey, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. You look so cute.
You look so cute.
No. You look cute.
I noticed your little romper thing as soon as I walked in, and your ponytail is like super just bumping today. It's very cute.
It's very dance moms.
Yeah, but that's not what I would.
Really?
I didn't think that, but is that a good thing?
No. I just mean like from all my training of like dance competitions and stuff. A slick pony was always required at practice and performance.
It is a
So,
perfect pony, for sure.
thank you.
I always get a little bump in the back of my head.
I usually do. I used a brush this time. If I just use my hands, there's definitely a bump and whatever, rock the bump. Do you work this weekend?
Do I work this weekend?
Did you work this weekend? This past weekend? Sorry. We're just now seeing each other again.
Yes. I worked Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Work was really slow for me. Niall was sick because I was sick. That happened. That sucked. So I did work. I don't really remember that much of work. Nothing memorable.
You said that
happened.
last week.
Honestly, I just like
No, I get it.
I'm just there.
Yeah. Because we're so on when we like have our kids that when you're there, you can like kind of just be on cruise control.
I think Friday I only had 4 tables. So
I
nothing.
didn't remember working with you on Friday.
Did you work on Friday?
Yeah. This is embarrassing.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, we worked together.
We do, right?
Yeah, we worked together.
I saw you on Sunday.
Sunday ended up being surprisingly like the best day of my life. It was very slow all weekend.
You were having a really bad day when I saw you at first. You looked like you were just gonna end it all.
Yeah. And it was really rough. I was like, because I left Lennon. He was not in the best mood because of it, and it's always such a bummer. I'm getting better at it, and then sometimes it's easier than others. But he wasn't having an easy time. So when I got there and it still wasn't, busy or something, it's hard to like as a mom, you're like, oh man, there comes that guilt. Like, oh my goodness, is this going to be worth my time and money and childcare and the stress that I'm probably causing on my child and myself? So I definitely was making my little Venn diagram of like good, bad, things we both benefit from or things we both lose. That moment, but obviously I want to keep working. The economy will definitely keep me working also. Hoping just for like a busy December. Other than that, I had like one table all night. I literally had one table all night, and it was plant workers. Shout out to the unions.
We love you.
Oh,
Thank you for keeping our babies fed.
I think we said something about that in episode 1 too. Yeah, it was just like a company, whatever, and I got a pretty solid tip from that, and my day was over, and that was cool. And I got to go home. I made it to dinner time with my boys, and I even got to wash my hair before Monday.
Nice.
So that was the biggest win of it all. And that's why I get to have this cool ponytail. I'm actually really proud of like my hair growth. So I am happy with my ponytail finally, but there's a long time there. I call it PP bangs, postpartum bangs. I lost a lot of hair. Like 3 months. So 3 months postpartum, it's really common for women to start losing their hair because your estrogen starts going back to what it was pre-pregnancy. And all that cool estrogen you were getting pumping through your veins, it depletes. And if you're not on your nutrients and minerals and all that. And I hear vitamin B helps a lot with breastfeeding and hair loss and that mixture of things. Also with gray hair,
Mhm.
I hear it just helps. Um, so I was really down there for a while. I lost a lot of hair.
You've always had beautiful hair too, not like to, like, be
Yeah.
like, "Oh," but I'm sure
Yeah, it
it's
was
gonna go back
mainly
to
like
normal.
all in the front and now I have like just cool layers
Yeah.
and I think your hair looks great, so I hope to someday get to that point by 2 years
Something
postpartum.
I don't know if you can see it, so this is all my natural hair, I cut out all the color, but when I was pregnant, my hair got darker. There was more pigment in it, and, now that it's grown out a little bit more, but when I it took me, like, a year to get my first haircut again because I didn't have time.
Oh, I got one before Christmas pictures when Lennon was like 4 months old. Tommy's cousin Lauren came over and cut my hair for me. Thank you so much because I wasn't getting out of the house. I wasn't able to, and I just mentally couldn't be away for that long to get my hair cut. He was nursing so much at that point, 4 months. What a cluster feed, literally. Um, so she came and cut my hair, and then since then I have not. So it's been definitely over a year.
It was such a treat for me to get my hair cut too. I remember, like, leaving and Brian had Niall and, like, I just got to go and get out of the house, and I felt really good after. But, I've gotten, like, 2 haircuts since then, I think. But, yeah, there's it's darker from at some point, like, whenever she, like, puts me on the chair, because 'cause we've talked about adding highlights, but I don't know if I'm going to because eventually I will have
Big
gray hair.
decisions.
Yeah, well, no, eventually I will have gray hair.
Yeah.
So I kinda want to enjoy what I look like naturally.
Yeah, I guess
I wanna also enjoy aging a little bit too. Like, I'm thinking I've never had Botox or filler or anything, but I think one day I will do that, but right now I'm kind of just enjoying my little.
coasting.
Yeah, I like it.
That's awesome. Um,
Oh, I did have something happen on Friday. Okay, so,
circle back.
yes, so I was sick during the week, and then Niall just was a trooper, did not get sick at all. I'm starting to get better, and then Thursday night, Friday morning, I'm in bed, and then I just hear him struggling to breathe. So I pick him up, and, like, I just check him out. I put him in bed with me, and then he's awake, so I'm like, "Okay, we got a nose free to him." And nose free-ing a two-year-old is crazy because he swings, like, he can fight, he can roll, he does not like it. So we did that, and then I put him back in bed, and he could not go to sleep. So I nose feeded him one more time because he was fighting so much. I was like, "I'm sure I didn't get all of it out." So we did that, and then we stayed up, and I'm not sure if you watch, the Hey Bear sensory videos?
I've heard of it.
Okay, so we do the nighttime one. It's like a little moon and stars, and he'll just watch, and he'll say, "Star," and I'll be like, "That's right, baby, that's a star," and he'll be like, "Moon," and I'll be like, "That's
He's
right."
crushing it.
Yeah, but, we just sit there and then, like, in 30 minutes, it puts him out. But he could not go to sleep, so I had to put him down by himself because sometimes when mommy's right next to him, he just gets really excited and he just wants to play with me. So I put him down, put on some white noise, and he knocked out. But in the morning, he looked better, and then after his nap, he looked way worse. But, dropped him off with Brian. I almost called into work, but Brian said that he's super dad and he had it covered. So when I dropped him off, he had some Theraflu for me. So I drank that, and then he took Niall's temperature. He had a slight fever, but we have some ibuprofen that we gave him, some vitamins, and then he just watched him, gave him a cold bath, and then his temperature slowly dropped, and I don't think he got a fever again that entire weekend. Um, Pick him up on Monday, he's a lot better, he's a little snotty. But anyways, I didn't sleep. I slept maybe 2 hours, like, the entire night. So I get to work, I'm a little tired, and then our managers are there, and they're like, "Hey, like, you kinda sound like shit. Do you not wanna be here? Because we don't need you." And I was like, I kinda need to work, so I'm gonna stay." And they're like, "Alright." So I was the 3 o'clock. So what that means is, me and another server were taking all of the tables in the restaurant until the rest of the employees get there, and it was, like, surprisingly busy. I think I had, like, 7 or 8 tables, and, the specific table that I wanna talk about was a group of older people. They were really cool, actually. They were really needy, But I overheard them talking, and they were talking about when they visited the Playboy Mansion. They were talking about, like, and they're old people,
Mhm.
but they're talking about, like, all of these trips they have planned up and, like, just traveling, like, abroad, and they just seem like really cool people. But, they kinda wanted to talk to me, but I had a bunch of other tables.
Yeah, I
So
hate that.
I
I
got
always feel so
them
bad.
yeah, I got them everything that they needed, and, it's one of those things, and it's a very common thing for a server. If you've never been in the restaurant industry, maybe you're not aware of this, but anyone who has knows. They asked me for lemons, and then I had to go just do a quick check on my other tables, and I was gonna go to the back and get everything everyone needed. So, I had to go check on this other table, check on this other table, and then I'm walking to the back, and they stop me, they're like, "You never brought us our lemons." And I'm like, "Yes, ma'am, I haven't been to the back,
I
let me go
never
get
went
that."
to the kitchen.
Yes, so then I go get the lemons, and I come back, and then I'm checking on them, everything's fine, and then it comes to time that they're, like, done. So, I'm like, "Okay, how are you guys doing?" And they said, "Well," I got lectured in front of everyone. Like, this lady was talking very loud, and she was like, "I just want you to know that you are a very sweet girl and that you got us everything that we wanted, and it's not your fault, but I don't like that you had so many tables because I don't feel like you gave me the service that I would have liked. So, I'm not gonna tip you as much as I would normally tip." And she's like, "But it's not your fault." And I'm just standing there, and I'm like, "Okay, well, is there anything that I can get for you? Because what do you say to that?"
Yeah,
But she lectured me so loud, and everyone else is just, like, looking at her lecture me. Like,
yeah,
this is an abridged version. Like, she's older, so she's talking slow, and she's talking very loud like I'm a child. And at that point, I'm like, "Man, this is really embarrassing, and I would rather you just not tip me."
yeah,
But all of my other tables felt bad for me, I guess,
yeah.
because they made up for everything.
Mhm.
But, like, I felt like I was in trouble at school, and I was like, "Ma'am, I did get you everything you wanted." Like, I understand, like, you're not obligated to tip. Thank you for tipping.
At all,
Yeah,
yeah.
but, it was the lecturing part that, like, kinda got to me. But that happened, but I ended up having a really great day, so no big deal, but I
Yeah,
got, like,
I mean,
very embarrassed.
yeah, I hope maybe she went home and rethought that.
I don't think so.
Yeah, some people are, like,
I think she's like,
so
"Oh."
confident in their, lessons to you, like, everything has to be a lesson type of
Yeah.
thing, and I'm just like, "Hi, stranger, I'm also a stranger, not gonna tip you, you're great, but not gonna tip you."
Yeah, you could have been better. No, that's okay, that's perfectly okay.
Yeah,
Like,
do what you want with your money,
it was the lecturing,
but you can also, like, pay attention to your words as well. It's literally free to be quiet.
and then I had to, like, stand there and get lectured, and then I'm like, "Well, these other tables that probably are gonna tip me probably need something right now."
Yeah,
But you
literally,
can't say
"You're
that.
wasting my time."
No, I'm just kidding, that's my job for anyone who's like, "You know, I don't tip at all," like, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I get it, that's cool, whatever, I don't care. Just don't lecture me. But, I think that
Yeah,
was
I'm sorry that happened to you.
no, it's cool. I ended up having a great day.
Yeah, I mean, monetarily,
Not
that's
even
great.
monetarily, like, I had so many other and they weren't even a bad table. Like I said,
Mhm.
they were really cool, they were really nice. I think they just wanted me to stand there and talk to
Just
them.
like Aunt Betsy got too wild.
Yeah, but, she also I don't think it was any, like, personal beef with me because she offered to pay for everyone's meal, and then they were drinking, and then I heard her lecture everyone else about how, like, she doesn't like to pay for drinks, so if they ever go out to her with her, they need to put their drinks on, like, a separate like, check or so, I don't think it was, like, any personal beef with me. I think that's just who she was, and she seemed like she had a very successful life, and that's how she got to where she was, by being that bitch. So, that happened. That was the only thing I remember, really. Other than that, just cinnamon rolls, tartar sauce, ranch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a few good cakes.
I didn't
Um,
get any good cake.
no, on Sunday, that tres leches cake
Yeah.
that table, gave Ashley,
Yeah.
gave her the rest of it. No, that was awesome. That was the same bakery I got your baby shower cake from, so I was, like, so proud telling everybody that.
I got the strawberry too.
And you got the
It
strawberry
was
with the
so
goop.
good. Mhm.
I don't know about that goop, but
Oh, it was nice.
solid goop.
Yeah.
I don't know why it reminds me of Tylenol,
Yeah.
and
It didn't taste like
and,
that.
like, Crunchy Moms fear Tylenol.
No, it didn't taste like that. I just wanted to let you know because of our crunchy episode, um, Brian went and bought some stainless steel cups with straws.
That's cool.
Yeah, so he, like, texted me, like, "I'm a crunchy mom." And I was like, "Alright, good for you, brother, like, you're killing it."
That's funny. Yeah, like I said, maybe change a little bit here and there. By the end of it, you're like, "Oh, wow, I live completely different than other people."
Mhm,
Like, I have the hardest time, relating to people sometimes whenever they're, um, talk about like, "Oh, I'm just gonna do this or eat this." I'm like, "Well, what about XYZ?"
mhm.
Oh gosh, like but then I'm also like, that comes with the ignorance is bliss thing. Um, I wish I didn't know sometimes, because I'm so once I hear something, I'm like, "That's it." I can and if it doesn't mean I can't learn a lesson or, like, learn something new if, like, new evidence or science emerges. I'm not gonna be stuck in my ways
Mhm.
type of thing, but, with the knowledge I have now, currently, I must live by it, basically. But if I learn something new, then I'll throw it out the window.
I was just because you said that, I was having a thought earlier. We were talking about, like, kinda meditating and, like, getting, like, your peace, but I was listening to affirmations, and, you're saying that you can always learn something new. I was feeling, like, kinda down on myself, honestly, just I don't think that I've meant to perceive myself. So, like, the podcast has been very much, like, stepping out of my comfort zone, and when we're talking, like, we both kind of feel nerves a little bit, like, little more and more, we're getting more comfortable,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Just conscientious of the camera.
yeah,
Yeah.
but, yeah, like, thinking about things that I can do better, but still being true to myself, but one of the things that, like, I can definitely take pride in is that I can always learn and progress.
You can.
So, rather than beat myself up about things that I could have done differently, said differently, presented
You
myself.
take all criticism so well.
Yeah,
I
thank
feel
you.
like I might take it good, like, at your face or whatever, but I'm definitely gonna overthink the fuck out of it later.
Yeah, I do that as well. So
Okay. Like, I just feel like when you learn, you really digest it in that moment, and then you take your time. I feel like I'm just like, everything's like, "Oh gosh, sorry," like, blah, blah, blah.
you're a little bit of a perfectionist as well.
But maybe yes, I'm like, maybe, like, earlier, Lennon dropped her water thing because he likes to be a strong man and
He's
carry
so
it
strong,
around
though.
the room, but he drops it, to hear the sound for whatever reason. Um, and you immediately are like, "It's okay to make mistakes," and blah, 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 and I definitely need to put that in my dialogue. I never get mad at him for making mistakes, but I don't know that I always reassure him. 'Cause I'm so quick to normally his mistakes are, safety
Yeah,
concerns, so I'm in such like a like, pick him up, don't get a concussion, no one saw that,
yeah,
stuff like that mode, but and I also don't consider them mistakes.
yeah.
So it's also teaching them what a mistake is and that it is okay, um, because someone someday is gonna let him know he made a mistake,
There's
whether he wants it or not.
there's a video on, I don't know if it was TikTok or Instagram, but it's a mom just, like, sitting down and finally getting to relax, and then you just hear, like, a bunch of, like, crashing and plates falling, and then you hear your toddler say, "It's okay, everyone makes mistakes," and then the mom's face just, like her eyes get so wide, and she's like, "Hold on, I can do this." But essentially, what the yeah, I'm gonna do it later, but I'm probably gonna cuss, but right now I was able to
I love that. I
thank
wish
you.
I had long arms, but so I'll just keep saying,
I got you. Just give me a
"Thanks."
little
Oh god, now I'm gonna pay attention to blinking a lot, like, don't blink too much. You wanted to I'm excited to get into this. Before we started this episode today, I didn't make you watch the music video, but you did say, "Let's just listen to let's listen to the song." The Beatles came out with their final song. It's incredible. Still digesting it a bit, but definitely have some stuff to say. Um, so I make Becca watch the music video. She, watches intently. We end it, and I'm like, so many emotions, definitely on my end. She said it was beautiful. How big of a Beatle mania phase did you go through? Did you go through any at all? I feel like I have a hard time definitely relating to people at work with my, love for the Beatles or even Zeppelin sometimes. I feel like it's "Fling," it goes over some people's head. Just because it's not their preference, not because, like, I'm cooler or anything. It's just, like, I'm obviously stuck in, the past.
So I would say I'm not fluent in the Beatles, but I've listened to a lot of music from them. I liked Across the Universe. That was kind of my introduction. I've seen that movie so many
Okay,
times.
same. That
Yeah.
was that I think that was my introduction as well. Besides my mom, her dad was a huge Beatles fan, so and she was a, Big Daddy's girl, I believe. So, inevitably, she was a Beatles fan.
Max was so sexy. I fucking loved Max. He was
Oh, the blonde.
yes, dude, I
Yeah.
loved him.
Really?
Yes, what do you mean? He was so scruffy and, like, he
I was
went
about
to
to say
Princeton.
deranged.
Yes, I love that, he was perfect. And then
This
whenever
is from Across the Universe we're talking about, the
yeah,
cast.
yeah, I loved what is the song? Is a Warm Gun? What
Mhm.
is the song called?
Happiness is a warm gun.
God, that musical number was so beautifully
Yeah,
done. It was
yeah.
my favorite in the whole movie.
I've always been into rock operas, stuff and, musicals,
Mhm.
obviously, but, I guess that's considered a kind of a rock opera. Um, it was, like, revolutionary. It was made by the, Diablo Cody.
I'm not sure who that is.
She's she's a producer. She did, or writer, director, I don't know. She did Juno.
Okay, very
Yeah,
cute, very
Diablo
cute.
Cody. Um, I was obsessed with that movie. What grade were you in and or what
Oh, okay. So, I actually watched it in school, and, I was in
what class?
debate.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes we, like, wouldn't talk about anything, like, we did do, like, once a week, we would have to do current events. So someone would get, like, pop culture, someone would get, like, world affairs, and then we would have to sit down and pretty much, like, describe the news. But some days and we, like, talked about we had one topic for the year, and then we would dive into that topic. One year it was gentrification, one year it was, like
So this is high school.
yeah,
Okay.
Darfur, but some days we would just do nothing, and we would just sit around and chit chat. So this was one of those days we watched a lot of movies, and our teacher was so cool. He was an older man, but he was cool. Um, he put it on, and then I remember it like boobs came on, and then he just looked at us. He was like, "Everybody just grow up. Like y'all just grow up and enjoy the movie." But
Mhm.
he showed it to us, and we watched it over several classes.
It's very, artistic,
Yeah, he showed us so many good movies.
really.
Yes, he was cool.
You know, that says a lot about a person,
Mhm.
like, what their favorite movies are. I was, like, in 6th grade, and this is kinda, like, when it really flourished and, watch it, every single day. I actually got the DVD, um, from my 6th grade boyfriend at the time,
Oh, wow.
and, 'cause I was obsessed with it, so he, gave it to me as, my gift, and I was like, "Oh my gosh." Um,
He courted you?
yeah, he had no idea, like, I obviously now, like, the monster it created. Huge Beatles fan. My first house, that on, Thomas Street, uh, was all Beatles. Becca and I both lived in that house.
Yeah, we did.
That's why at different times for different reasons, and
Yes,
that's
yes,
just
yes.
what's so funny about that. Yeah, everything was Beatles, bathrooms, bedrooms, everything. Super obsessed with it, had a lot of memorabilia, stuff like that. Um, music-wise, I really liked their last album, Let It Be. I think it's their last. Um, not their last song, of course. It was really good, and they had Get Back, and we got to actually watch 8 hours of them making that, so that was awesome to watch. I don't think that's Tommy's favorite album, definitely not his favorite album. I mean, there's Yellow Submarine, classics. Um, this song that they just released is so true to them, I believe, and so it sounded like a Beatles song, and that's what was so big. You know, there after a few years, lots of years, you expect, oh, you know, whatever, it's the Beatles. But it really took you back. And even that video that you just watched, it, you know, shows you all their old pictures, even them as little boys. And I know I cherish that so much, and I know you kinda see Paul
That was the,
in the
like,
video
most
looking
yeah.
back, and, like, they have these, you know, old videos going, regenerated now with Peter Jackson's, technology and all that, um, and it looks like they're just right in the room with them, and you just see, like, that's really probably, like, what's going through Paul's head. He's thinking of John's voice and what he brought to the world, what he brought to him, and, like, he's feeling everything, and those 4 guys are so lucky to have ever even met each other. Tommy and I watched it and just, you know, sobbed, because we felt that. We felt the friendship, the unity, the loyalty. Um, so how it even came about is in 1994, I wanna say Yoko found, like, a video or a recording of, John. John liked to play with a lot of, different types of recording equipment, at all times. So, it was whenever he was living in the Dakota, um, and he's just, you know, playing on the piano, and Paul even says, "It's it's John. It's just sounds like him diddling on the piano. It sounds like he's, you know, right here with us, and, or we're back there with him." And, I could feel that too. And that's just so it's so magical that you can feel that through their music, like,
Mhm.
just through their music. It's super cool, and so, yeah, Yoko gives this to Paul. Paul's like, "Let's do something with it." In '95, they try to do something with it, so that's when they have, George play some guitar on it, so then they have the recording of that. They decided to put it away for a while, and then 2001, they lost George. So, that was a big blow. Fast forward to 2023, um, with Peter Jackson, all this technology they're able to do, they're able to pull out, um, the sound of John's voice, piano, get the chords, figure out a song, build from there, and that's how they're able to have every single Beatle on that song, and how they're able to, say it's a Beatles song, and is their last Beatles song officially. And, as a consumer and a Beatle enthusiast, I definitely am so thankful for that. I felt like I got closure, from it all. Not that I, like, didn't have closure, but or let there was anything really open, but I felt like that was definitely those words, "now and then," like, just definitely, like, sealed, like, "I would have been nothing without y'all." They all agree. It was such a time that they had, such a piece of history that they hold, um,
I'm getting
th
chills right now.
that I know, like, I felt like I got some closure out of it. I asked, you know, Tommy's statements on it. He said he's still processing it. Um, so interested to hear that. But I'm sure, you know, nothing but awesome feelings. Like we couldn't even put it into words truly.
Whenever Paul McCartney is there and then his younger self is kind of, like, dancing around him, like, that definitely made me feel some type of way.
Yeah, because he still feels that way. He's like
Mhm.
still performing. I have had the privilege of seeing Paul McCartney live twice. And I thank my parents so much for once they saw this, you know, this flicker of, you know, Beatlemania in me. Every birthday for like 5 years was going to see like live shows of you know, concert reenactments, or Fab Five is out there, or a Paul McCartney show. I saw him in at Minute Maid whenever I was in ninth grade, I think. Just they've always been like super supportive of that. And yeah, I'll never forget that.
I love that.
Yeah,
That's so
yeah.
cool.
We love the Beatles, all of us. And I made them last night whenever I was over there, with Lennon. I made them watch not only the 12-minute how it was made thing that I just described to y'all, but y'all go watch that for real. It's just 12 minutes. It's on Disney Plus. And the music video. I was like, feel it all with me right now. And they did, and I appreciate that.
That's beautiful. Thank you for also walking me through it. And I did not watch it. I think I told you, but I saw clips of it on TikTok, and I just like scrolled because I was like, I know this is Sydney's thing, so I would
Yeah.
like to watch it with her, and then you just tell me, let me know.
Yeah. So yeah, that's basically the rundown of how it was done. Tommy would have way more stories on the spot of how they wrote songs, things like that. But you can just really see how goofy John's personality is also, and I love that. Lennon was always my Lennon. Lennon was always Lennon, boy or girl. Tommy and I both agreed that's our favorite Beatle, but we love George Harrison also. Huge George Harrison fan. Was really sad about his death too. I'm like, dang, both of them. But super grateful to still have Paul and Ringo. Do you have any? I guess like bands that you've like hardcore followed like that or deep dived into.
And I know that they're blowing up right now, and everybody knows who they are. But like, I've been a Rainbow Kitten Surprise fan since their first album.
You really have because I had no idea who they were.
God, and I'm so happy I finally got to see them. They play at a lot of music festivals, but, like, just something always happens. I wanted to go see them in Houston one time, and then a bunch of bots bought their tickets, and then they went up to, like, $300.
What's their genre, just to like explain to people? Because hearing Rainbow Kitten Surprise, you kind of think that it's gonna be bebop music, and it's not.
It's on Spotify, I think they compare them to Kings of Leon.
I was gonna say I got a very Mumford and Sons vibe,
But their
folky kinda.
the albums are also different. And then, like,
Love
each
that.
song is so different, but it's just very heartfelt, and there's so much pain and hope, and, like, if anyone says, like, "Oh, this album, like, saved my life," um, they have done that for me, and I know they've done that for so many people, just when I've been in, like, the lowest of my lows and, like, trigger warning, but, like, dealing with addiction and, like, feeling like nobody understands me and I'm all alone. I just remember, like, sitting in my car and just, like, listening to them, and sometimes I would just drive to nowhere. Like, I would
Mhm.
just get in my car and just drive and listen to them and just cry and, like, know that someone out there felt the same exact
Yeah.
way that I felt, and it was so validating,
Yeah.
and yeah, but I love them. They have definitely saved me, and I've had friends pass away, and then I'll be like, "Hey, if you want something to listen to," and then I'll recommend a song for them, and yeah, they're just a cool time, and the members are all really, really cute, and they put on a great live performance. They absolutely do. Best show I've ever been to. So and that's actually
Really.
how, Niall got here as well. They were gonna be playing at Red Rocks, and I didn't know who I wanted to invite because I wanted that was gonna be a very spiritual experience for me.
Yeah.
So I would either go alone or I would go with someone who just really would appreciate the music the way that I did. And I've known Brian for over 10 years, and we've always talked about music and had a lot in common. So I was like, "Hey, would you like to listen to this band? And if you like it, you can go with me." And he was like, "Yes." So then he listened. He liked them. COVID ended up happening and we didn't go, but that's kind of how we ended up connecting. And then when we did finally go see oh my god. And then, they take COVID very seriously as well. So, they would post shows and then they would get canceled, but they were gonna do a show at this place called The Caverns, and then, like, their tickets sometimes sell out so fast. So, I was like, "Brian, like, I was at work, but, like, they're gonna post the tickets, so you need to be on top of it." He was a little too late, and then we missed it. So then they were like, "Hey, the show sold out so fast, we're gonna add another day." So we ended up getting tickets the second day. So we're like, "Yes, we're going." And then we were really excited about that, and then the show got canceled. So we did not get to go there, and they never really come to Texas. Like, they went to the show that we went to in San Marcos a couple years ago in, like, 2021, um, And other than that, they hadn't really been here since I was 25. So, like, they just I don't know, they're just never really in Texas. Um,
Do you think they have
a reason?
a vendetta?
No, I don't think they have the members are there's a trans member and then they're LGBTQ plus. So during their show, they were like, "Hey, we are praying for everyone that you feel safe and like we want you to know that like you are loved." But
You think Texas wouldn't
well, Texas
want
just
them to say that or want them to do that?
well, I mean, there's free speech, so
Oh, yeah, yeah. I
regard
just meant like, do they
it's just yeah, where Texas is not the
Yeah,
friendliest
yeah, yeah.
place
No, I'm saying it's
for that.
understandable. Do you think it's like,
Yeah,
um, not the, like, freest of thinkers,
yeah,
maybe, or
uh,
the most woke?
yeah, but
It's understandable.
yeah. But, I think that might be a reason why, but I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
But they do a lot of music festivals,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you normally go where you have the most fans too.
and
So,
I've heard so many people who just, like, accidentally, like, stumbled across them at a music festival, and I'm like, "You are so lucky." I would like I said, I've been
that's
listening to
cool.
them for years, but, like, that would be such a cool experience just to be walking and to be like, "Oh my god, who is this?" and hear them live for the first time. That would have been
That's
awesome.
how I feel about Greta Van Fleet.
But that is not my journey, so alas.
Yeah. What, so what show did you say earlier that Niall watches? You said
Um
Moon and
Oh, it's,
Stars.
Hey Bear, Baby
Hey
Sensory.
Bear.
We try not to watch it too much, it does calm him down. So, right now, we're entering the terrible twos. Me and Brian were actually talking about it earlier because he started throwing a fit. I had a long morning, and I was like, "Man, I deserve some ice cream." So, me and Niall are gonna go get a Blizzard, and we're gonna split it. So, we were splitting the Blizzard, and then I gave him the last bite, and I didn't give him the cup. Usually he'll get the cup and then he'll be like, "Oh, it's empty." But
Mm,
me being silly, I gave him the last bite and I was like, "Okay, I can go
I'm
throw
gonna
it
toss
away."
it, yeah.
So then I went and threw it away and he like lost his mind. Like his feelings were so hurt. And I like waited a little bit because sometimes he just feels his feelings and like lets them go. So I was wondering if it was gonna be one of those moments, but it was not. So he's on the ground and he's like screaming. So I pick him up and I love him and I just feel those feelings with him and I just bounce him and I just pat his back and it's very important in our household that we name our emotions. So I'll say, "Oh, we're frustrated. We our feelings are hurt. Like we felt like mom didn't trust us with the cup." You know what I mean? So I'll just talk him through that and then he calms down instantly. Sometimes he doesn't, but most of the time he does. So that was over, and then I texted Brian, "Hey, he just had, like, a little tantrum," and Brian was like, "Oh, we're entering that era," and I said, "It's gonna be time for a lot of teachable moments," and I really do love moments that I can just, because that's my job. Above everything else, I am his first teacher, and I'm gonna teach him how to go through the world and how to regulate, and he'll have many teachers along the way, but that is that's my most important role. So I felt really good about that. And it also thinking that way helps me be more patient with him
Yeah.
because I have to model it because
Mhm.
he's very smart, but they do what they see.
Yeah.
So I have to calm down and then once I'm calm, I can show him like, "Hey, it's okay and it's okay that we feel these things, but we don't have to hold on to them and we can move on."
Yeah, I never felt like as a kid I wasn't allowed to feel an emotion, but I definitely wasn't taught to describe them
Mhm.
or felt like, uh, I was I don't know. I never felt like I learned the dialogue to explain that, and I'm, like, horrible now with that, saying how I feel and, also setting, like, boundaries. I'm pretty bad at that.
If you wanna zoom in on this, we use this little chart sometimes. So go to the center and then try to find the emotion that you feel, and then it will narrow it down to more, like, exact. And then that
Alright.
right? And that's
Yeah,
cute.
yeah, I like that.
Will you
So
give an
the,
example?
like, main initial feelings on this feelings wheel is disgust, sad, surprise, fear, trust, happy, anticipation, and angry.
Go to angry because that's a big one, and then, like, go from there.
Angry, insulted, frustrated, upset, mad, aggressive, critical. And then on the outerest most banks, vengeful, indignant, thwarted, annoyed, irritated, provoked, furious, enraged, spiteful, hostile, abrasive, and I can't figure out that last one. I think it says biting.
Biden, let me see.
It's like,
Oh, this is okay.
but that's really good.
Yeah, I like it because and then I have multiple.
Becca was just seeing if I could read.
Yeah, you did great.
Got my ass.
But, yeah, I think, like, sometimes you feel just, like, anger, you know what I mean? And you
Yeah,
just feel like it
explaining that.
bubbling up inside you, and you're just gonna, like, explode, and, like,
Yeah.
maybe you don't know that you're not actually angry, your feelings just got
Yeah,
hurt.
and to a baby, it could just sound like a loud voice
Yeah,
or like a constant loud voice,
yeah,
like a speech going on.
or maybe you're just feeling anxious, you know what I mean?
Yes,
And,
yeah.
like, it's just manifesting itself, but then, like, once you realize, like, "Oh, I'm not actually angry. My feelings got hurt. Like, I don't feel validated. I don't
Yes.
feel heard."
I try to take, like, 3 steps back because overthinking definitely throws you, like, tosses you to, like, left field so quick. So I'm like, "Okay, this is how I feel right now, but let me go 3 steps back. Like, when did that start?" And then now that I felt my feelings, now I need to teach my kid how to feel his feelings 'cause, um, I see the issue with, like, our tantrums or whatever. They're not there yet, but I see the biggest issue is gonna be, him feeling like he gets to decide or he has control of something.
Mhm.
So what I try to do to combat that or make him feel like, we're in this together type of thing, like, you can tell me if you don't like it. Um, I'll give him when he's gonna eat 2 different colored forks or something and be like, "Which one do you want?" But my most favorite thing I've been doing lately is and I don't know if this is kind of a safety issue, kind of not, you'll see. I live in an apartment, but when I open my door, I'll be like, "We're going on a walk." I'll put our shoes on, have everything ready to go, and I'm completely ready for him to run out the door, there's no phone in my hand, I'm ready to grab him if he runs. But I let him walk out the door, and I'll be like, "Which way do you wanna go?" And we'll just go. For, like, 30 minutes, I'll let him walk around, the apartment's gated, and I try to avoid cars, stuff like that. I don't need to prove anything to y'all. I don't let my kid get hit by
It'd
cars.
be cooler if you did. That actually wouldn't be cool. I'm just saying that because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sydney got a lot of hate because she ended up on the wrong side of Twitter, I guess, and she said that she saved Lennon's life when he fell, and, like, so many people got
I
mad.
said I ruined his life because I
Yeah,
didn't let him fall.
she's a bad mom, essentially.
Yeah, but, the context of it all was
He's
those
gonna fall. Like,
those people didn't know he was 14 months old too.
yeah.
Like, if he falls, it could be fatal.
And also, like, he is gonna fall, but, like, let's try to minimize that, you know what
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean?
and
You're not gonna be
I'm
there every single
there, but
time.
I feel like this was good on both of us. I literally felt like he was learning, like,
Yeah,
developing as I just let him pick which way he wanted to go, and you just see those gears moving, and you feel like as a parent, you're like,
they love it
"I'm
too.
doing something right now." And on the other side of things, when not thinking of a parent, it gives me 30 minutes where I feel like I'm a kid. And of course, I'm conscientious of safety and I'm not literally becoming a kid, but I'm like, what's he thinking about? Oh, he just saw a flower over here. He wants to go back to it. He loves little just ramps, like for wheelchairs and stuff on sidewalks. He'll go up and down for so long and just go make his little happy noise. Hee, hee. And I'm like, wow, he's having the best time and he's learning how to properly balance going on an incline, a decline. And I'm just like, that's great. And that literally transitions me into this next topic, which is basically the same topic. Kids learn through play.
Mhm.
You've told me that. I feel like everyone talks about it. But we are in a society where so many male um, little boys between the ages of like 5 and 7 are on ADHD medication or prescribed with ADHD. When really, I believe that boys and girls are taught differently, retained differently,
Mhm.
different levels, fast, slow, whatever. And girls do have this like, I don't know. I was telling Tommy, little girls before they even start school, they're playing school. Before they become a mom, they're playing mom. They're doing all those nurturing things. They're wanting to teach, and with that, they're wanting to learn. And I feel like little boys do that too, but they're also climbing things and like really into learning their bodies, but they don't know how to say that that's what
Mhm.
they're doing, but they are, and gaining that confidence that way. Whereas someone might feel more confidence in the amount of knowledge they have.
Mhm.
Um, so it's just putting kids in this box and then giving them drugs. You're, changing the course of their brain, life, everything so young. And not to like dock anyone that's done it. Hey, some kids really do need some things, I
Mhm.
suppose. But you know what they probably need to do is go outside and
Mhm.
literally, because I just watched a little boy tucker himself out, come inside, sit down for his snack, and sit down to watch Bluey and not run around or whatever. And it's like you feel like, especially as a boy mom, you're like, I did it.
Mhm.
I've cracked the code. He's sitting down. I only have to run around an entire acre of an apartment complex, but it happens. And I just feel like that really needs to be addressed. I want to homeschool probably because of that,
Mhm.
putting kids literally in a box for 8 hours, being told when to eat, drink, go to the bathroom. There's nothing, I'm going to say, safe about it. Also, don't like that, and I don't care what kind of flack I get. Teachers can just like give your kid any snack, basically, just whenever. And you can bring a snack and be like, here's a better alternative for the whole class, blah, blah, blah. But I just think that they shouldn't be able to pass out anything. Um, what 5-year-old needs a sucker? That's I mean, at school and then you tell him to sit down.
Mhm.
You just gave him sugar, like, what are you expecting? And I'm not saying every teacher does this, but I do see sugar incentive all the time, and then sugar toxicity. Do you feel the same? I feel like you're, like, ready to, "Yes, yes."
So I just want to say I feel like we are so in sync because we don't talk during the week. Like maybe we'll text about the podcast, we'll do a little texting about like personal stuff that we're not going to talk about, like just mom stuff, poop,
Toothpaste,
yeah, whatever.
teeth.
But like I don't really talk to you. Like I'll do like mental checks or whatever. Like how are you doing? You'll
Yeah,
do
yeah,
the
yeah,
same.
but you don't yeah.
But like, dude, I've been thinking about almost the exact same thing all week, and I just
Yeah.
think that that is so
I
wild.
think it's because we get so excited to do those, like, go to the park with them and
Yeah,
stuff like that, and why would you ever wanna, like, squash that
yeah,
growth?
but I've been thinking about, like, the way that boys and girls are both raised differently in the healthy way to, like, raise a boy and, like, how to teach him, like, his masculinity as, like, a positive thing,
Yeah, I
and
think, Wilson on Tommy's podcast called it, like, vibrant masculinity,
yeah, that's nice.
and I like that a lot.
And then I also thought about, like, the how gender is just, like I don't know if y'all can hear that, but,
We live by aerospace.
nice. I think I do too, but different. But, I was thinking I actually messaged a few people about, like, what their masculinity means to them and, like, how they feel that it was shaped and all of that thing, all those type of things. But I was thinking, like, for me, what does it mean to be a woman? And then what are my thoughts on being a man? And, like, I kinda realized that to me, they're the same exact thing, I just word them differently. So for women, like, the first word that you usually think of is, like, nurturing, right? And taking care of, like,
Yeah,
those around
that's
you.
literally what I said when describing, like, a little girl, like, her goal,
Yeah, but whenever I think about, like, what does it mean to be a man, it means to also take care of those around you, like,
provide.
but it's just that we use, like, different language, you know what I mean? But women are also providers, and what like, whether it be, like, monetary or not, like, whether they're
Oh, yeah.
providing, like, a safe space, like, whether they're, like, filling the home with, like, food and warmth and, like, these little decorations, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm. It
but
matters.
it
Yeah.
does matter, but, like, it's all the same thing, but, like, it's just the language that we use, but we're talking about ADHD medication, right? But, like, very similar thoughts,
Oh, yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna completely go down that rabbit hole,
okay, I'll just
because
do a little
'cause
tidbit.
I'm, like, super anti-pharma,
Yeah,
but
so for me, I was diagnosed with ADHD, I was around 7, I believe, but I was really struggling in school, and I had behavior problems, I didn't have any friends, like, I didn't make my first friend until I was in 5th grade, I was really weird, I was very isolated and, like, yeah, I did not have, like, the healthiest childhood, but, it kind of reflected in my schoolwork. I wasn't really worried about school,
yeah.
but I would test really well, and I remember my first tax test, like, before it was the STAR test,
Mhm.
I got invited to this lunch because I was the only student at our school in my grade who scored a perfect score on, like, not only the reading and the writing.
Yeah, I remember those things.
Yeah, and, I remember I went with the other kids who, like, also scored higher, and, like, they're like, "Oh, what did she get? What did she get?" And they were like, "Well, she scored perfect on both. She's the only one who did that." But, like, my grades were awful, but I test really well. Um, so I go that that's, like, notable. Like, nothing really happened at that moment, but that's, like, worth mentioning. So then I progressed to the next grade, and I do have to say that it's always a struggle for me to progress to the next grade. Like, it's a miracle that, like, they didn't hold me back because, like, I could not function. And then am in class one day, and then I'm not, like, getting it, and I'm having a hard time, and then one of these teachers were like, "She needs to be put in special ed." Like, she's like, sh we can't have her in, like, the the regular classes, and my mom got really upset about it. So, my mom kinda advocated for me, and they brought someone to the school, and then they tested me, and then they found out that I was, like, 2 reading grades above, like, where I was supposed to be, and they were like, "Dude, like, she won't shut the fuck up, like, she has ADHD."
Mhm.
Um,
You're bored.
yeah, and, I was able to get medication that helped me. So I do think sometimes it is necessary, but
I've
I
actually never heard a female's side of this.
oh, yeah, so, another thing that, like, we could talk about and if I autism is a big thing
Mhm.
as well because women are taught, that they have to sit still. Like, it's like a societal thing. The word is called masking. So I took this, like, autism, like, screening thing, and, like, when it came to masking, like, my score was, like, absolutely, like, through the roof, but you just watch people and you see how they act, so then you just, like, act like them.
Oh, okay.
But that's why it's the language as well. So, if a little girl was running around like that, like, you would be like, "What's wrong with her? Like, why aren't her parents doing that?" But when a little boy does it, it's boys will be boys.
Mhm.
So, boys aren't under the same amount of pressure as girls, and this goes for, like, anything. Um, Girls from a young age are taught they need to dress a certain way. They need to because other people will view them a certain way. They need to act
Mhm.
a certain way. They need to sit like a lady. Um, but the term that you're talking about is there is a term for it. It's called masking. Um, but yeah, I do think that also, anyone who has been on medications, there are natural ways to combat that. Something that I really like is called body doubling, and it's if I am put in a space to just do my work, my brain goes all over the place. But if I'm put in a space to work alongside someone else, like, I'm able to concentrate better. We've talked about it before, but gluten also kind of makes ADHD worse. And then there's sugar and um, it's a neurotype. So it's not a disease. So you're not gonna catch it. You're like it's There are different types of brains. There's neurotypicals and then God, why can I not
Because there's a camera.
Yeah. Neurotypicals are how the people that the world was made for. So back in the day, we decided this is how we're going to do it.
Okay.
And God, I gotta look this up because yeah, I'll get to it in a second. I'll come back to it whenever you start talking. But yeah, so neurodivergent. Oh my God, how could I forget that? So
Okay, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so there's neurotypicals and there's neurodivergent. But being neurodivergent isn't a bad thing. Like we excel in different things. We excel in
Yes.
multitasking. People who are neurodivergent can at work, I can do a million things. I am so fast, so efficient, and I can just juggle all of these things. And but if you ask me to sit down and write a paper, I have to take so many breaks. And if you ask me to have a conversation with you, I will make so many pit stops until I finally circle back around. But, yeah, it's also the way that the world is designed, and if, being homeschooled could be really great for that, because if you aren't designed to, sit in a classroom, medication will help you, but, it's not actually, going to help you excel with the skills that you're given. You know what
Mhm.
I mean?
Yeah,
Yes, you can fit into the box that you need to fit into.
exactly, but your gifts
But why would you do that when you could flourish?
yeah, your
Like,
gifts will diminish.
yeah, but, that's my little 2 cents on it and my little
Yeah,
experience.
but like I said, I've never actually heard a female's, um, view or someone who's experienced, it by taking it in.
Oh, and, going to a psychologist was really helpful for me as well, a childhood psychologist, because, for a lot of kids with ADHD, you get it, and I remember my brother and sister were, kind of dicks. So they were like, "Oh, Rebecca needs to take her medication," and I was, kind of made to feel bad about it.
Yeah, there's definitely such a stigma,
Uh-huh.
and that's not even a crunchy thing, that's just America.
But, going to a psychologist, um, I just remember, "No, it's your superpower," and that's the language that they use for kids. They're like, "Maybe you're not able to do this, but, you can do all of these things." People with ADHD are usually, more creative, artists, and
Yeah,
they're the outliers of society, but that is not a bad thing. We need so many different types of people in order to function and make the world a beautiful place.
yeah, yeah, that's Tommy. We definitely, he was on, medication as a kid. Um, I don't know the story perfect enough to tell it, but he, he's self-taught guitar from 12 years old to now, 28, and he makes a living off of it. That's our bread and butter right there. So, his superpower, definitely thankful for his mom for letting that flourish. She gave him, like, all the inspiration of music in the world. So,
One of the traits of ADHD, is being able to hyper focus on something. So sometimes it can be really beneficial, sometimes it can suck.
yeah, can it come off as like an addictive personality? Like
Yeah,
they, dive into one thing.
y
That's definitely
yeah, and, since you said that addiction is, a very, real that happens, so many people with ADHD do go down that road of, abusing substances and things like that, if you look at these statistics on it.
yeah. I mean, just like golf. Like
Yeah,
Tommy got
but
really into golf.
yes,
Like, and
or stamps.
yeah, our stamps. Never got into stamps. He doesn't like puzzles, that's for
No.
sure. I don't either. I love that little bit that he has on puzzles. Y'all go check that out. Um,
How does, that, work in y'all's relationship? Because you're very type A. Like
yeah, but also I see so much of myself even in him. Like, it just comes out differently, and that's kinda what helps me understand him a little bit. Because 'cause I'll be like, "I understand you feel this way, it's coming off as this way. And that's how I feel. And I feel like that also comes from me feeling like I don't know, I'm not gonna say I don't think I'm like an empath or anything, but I'm definitely I don't know what happened to me in life, but
Empathetic?
uh,
You're not a dick? You can
no, I'm saying like I don't I it might be that, but I think it's more so like I hyper focus on like how someone's feeling or how someone's perceiving me or whatever. Not in a sense of I want to be cool, but I don't want to hurt them. I don't want to like I spend a lot of eggshell walking. Not even like in my relationship just like I said earlier like I'm bad at like setting my own boundaries. Um so I feel like I'm constantly overthinking something and uh, as far as how works in the relationship, that type A plus the overthinking, sometimes it can be rough. It can be rough. And I could be rough on him, probably just as, hard as it can be on me with, someone who might have ADHD, might not. ADD, I think is what he prefers it to be or what it is for him. But it's not really that much of a hindrance. We have great conversation. If anything, I'm type A, but like left-brained, also, like creative stuff, love comedy. Um,
Oh, yeah, you're not
my mom
like
and I were talking about like she was like, you're an extrovert," and then she stopped and was like, "No, you're not." She's like, "Ah, well, maybe you're not because you take time and you're really in tune with your feelings." And I'm like, I guess I can be both. But that's something we thought about together.
I think it's very beautiful that, like, you do try to put yourself in other people's shoes and, like, be considerate of how they're feeling. Um,
Yeah, I
I
try.
I
I hope that's how they feel or whatever. I try.
I know that sounds like, "Oh, that's the bare minimum," but, like, a lot of people just, like, don't do that, you know what I mean? Like, you
Yeah.
should, like, everyone should be that way,
Yeah.
but it's not as common as you would think, and I don't even wanna be like that because there are so many beautiful people in the world. I'm not gonna be like, "Well, nobody's like that anymore," because if you exist, there are other people like you. Like, there are so many loving people in the to 2.5 brain cells with Sid and Becca. We were having some technical difficulties, so we did lose a small portion of this week's episode. We're gonna just pretend it didn't happen. We're just gonna sweep it under the rug and just pick up all the big pieces.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
That was my bad. The camera overheated and I got cold. So I'm sorry, Tommy, mainly.
um, but yeah, so I don't know if you caught us talking about our feelings, but we're gonna go ahead and move on to
We're
that.
gonna learn how to name them
Yeah, for sure.
and express those properly and hopefully circle back around to that thought at some point.
Eventually, yes.
But I wanted to end.
I wanted
I
to.
wanted no, I wanted to end on a really fun topic and question that probably every parent can answer.
Mhm.
What is your favorite Bluey episode?
So I have so many favorites. Um, I'm gonna say I really love when Rad, the little brother, and the babysitter, because I'm like get
Oh,
together
yeah,
because
yeah.
I'm a sucker for romance, and then
Mhm.
I love seeing that like come back around and come full circle during the Christmas episode. But that's not my absolute favorite. The one that I find myself rewatching over and over again would be Rug Island.
Okay.
Um, just because it just kinda shows you that no matter how busy and how hectic life gets, that's always gonna be there, but your children right now, who they are in this moment, like, that's the time that's gonna pass that's worth losing. Like, your job, whether you lose your job, you know what I mean? Like, your company, they care about you, but, like, you are an employee, but, like, to
Mhm.
them, to your children, you're their whole world.
And their hero, yeah.
Yeah, so I really love that one. It's a really good reminder, and I love the ending whenever Bingo gives, Dad why can I not remember? Bandit? Bandit.
And
When Bingo gives Bandit the marker, and then Chili's like, "What did she give you?" And he just ends with it, and he says, "Everything." and it just melts my little cool
Yeah,
heart.
there's so many Bluey episodes where I'm like, "Am I crying?"
Yeah.
Um, Mine is, Rain. Me and Lennon love that one. There's no words. It's just, Bluey and Mom. Um, it's a rainy day. The music is so good. It tells such a good story. And that one I believe is about patience. Um, Bluey keeps coming inside because she wants to stop the rain from getting down the little sidewalk that they have. Um, and she keeps going inside to find more things to like stop the water's path. And um, why can't I think of the mom's name?
Chili.
Chili, yes.
Yes. She's a TSA dog.
She's yeah. She like at one point gets like, towels out and stuff like that. Like wipe yourself off before you come inside. And you can see the frustration building. And then at the end of it, she's like, oh, let me play with her. Let me help her out. She just needs a little bit more. And being a part of um, your kids' problem is one thing, but being a part of their solution is even cooler.
It's beautifully put.
Is even cooler, and being on the same team and always reminding them of that, that you're their coach, but also their teammate. And I think that episode always leaves me like, wow. As I continue to learn patience as a parent, Bluey's right there letting me know that like I'm on the right path and patience is the path to be on.
One thing I love telling Niall all the time is whenever he's like, I can see he's starting to get frustrated. I was like, we can always say, "Mama, help." So now he's like starting to do that, and I do love that, and that's very cool that's you picked.
Yeah, I love that one. And I want to thank y'all for being here. If you're still here after these technical difficulties, and still here by episode 4.
Thank you for growing with us and watching us like evolve. Episode 4. It's been 4 hours. But thank you for all the support that we've been getting too.
We've learned so much. It's been a month. Thanks for being here. Here's to next week.